Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Surantali Seal, and like I always say, if you are somebody that loves literature and is all about literature, then this is the channel for you. In our video today, we're going to continue discussing literary devices and figures of speech, and in this video we're going to talk about juxtaposition and antitheses. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So as always, we're going to look at the definitions first individually, then we're going to look at the relations between the two, okay? So juxtaposition first. What is the definition? Juxtaposition is the placement of two or more things side by side to highlight their differences. So see, okay, there's so many things that talk about differences, okay? When we talked about, say, metaphor and simile, we said that they compare different things, okay? It's a comparison between two dissimilar things. Then in my previous video, we talked about conceit and metaphysical conceits. There also we talked about things that are dissimilar to each other, not related to each other. They're brought together to create impact. It's a comparison between dissimilar things. Dissimilar things are compared to give us an analogy. That's what I told you about conceits. Now here, juxtaposition is also two or more things. Remember, two or more things kept side by side to highlight their differences. So two dissimilar things are again placed side by side. So you see, there's a lot of play on differences. Metaphor, you compare dissimilar things. Simile, you compare dissimilar things. You come to conceit, you're comparing dissimilar things. Metaphysical conceit, dissimilar things. Okay, so juxtaposition also, you're not comparing. You have to remember, that's the difference. You're not comparing dissimilar things. You're placing them side by side. You're putting the dissimilar things next to each other to give an impact. In a metaphor or in a simile, you are comparing two things to give an impact. In a conceit, you are you're elaborately comparing two dissimilar things to give an impact. In a metaphysical conceit, again, you're comparing two different things using simile, metaphor, whatever. You're using these things to give us an impact, but it is intellectually stimulating. It is complex. Juxtaposition, you have two different things, dissimilar things. You're not comparing them, you're placing them side by side. You put them next to each other to create impact. So this is very important to remember, that juxtaposition highlights differences, but more than comparison, it is just the placement. You place these things side by side, hot and cold, dark and light, bittersweet. You're putting these side by side for impact, okay? You're not necessarily comparing the two, but you're placing these two things or two images, anything. In art also. Many art pieces can be juxtaposed. We say this is such a juxtaposition. Okay, we see a picture and we say this is such a juxtaposition. That is, you're placing two dissimilar things side by side, things that are different from each other. You're placing them side by side to relate a story, to give a message, to highlight, to impact. Okay, that is the point. So what is the purpose? It emphasizes the contrast between the elements being compared. So you are comparing, you're placing bittersweet, okay, or you're placing some kind of idea or a picture or a line in such a way you're placing it that it highlights the contrast. When you say that I'm giving my friend a bittersweet goodbye, this is a bittersweet goodbye. You're placing bitter and sweet together and you're saying it's a bittersweet goodbye. It highlights the gravity of the situation, that you love this person so much and you will meet this person again. It's a bittersweet goodbye. Like when somebody is married off, right? You say it's a bittersweet good. You're happy that that person is married and settled in life, but it's bitter because you have to let that person go. So it's a bittersweet goodbye. Your friend is going somewhere, will meet you again next year. It's a bittersweet goodbye. Sweet, you're going to meet her again. You know, she's going to come back and meet you again. And bitter because you have to let her go. So it's a bittersweet goodbye. So you see, the contrast over there is having an impact, highlighting the gravity of the situation. Examples: a wealthy neighborhood placed next to a poor one. Like I said, in a poem, in a story, or even in a picture or in art, you paint the city and then you paint the slums. Have you seen those pictures? A famous one from Mumbai also, that there's this lavish hotel. I'm not going to name it, but I'm sure most of us have seen that picture. There's a lavish hotel, and just behind it, there's the world's largest slum, right? That area over there. So that's a juxtaposition between the haves and the have-nots. The juxtaposition of the complexities of life, of the social strata of life, the juxtaposition between the realities of life. These are social realities of our times, and that's what that picture actually depicts. Now, a calm, serene landscape next to a chaotic, stormy one. So a serene landscape, if you place it next to a stormy one, imagine, okay, in a poem, I'm just giving an example, you're sitting by a spring lake, and you're seeing butterflies all around, but the poet uses this idea that there's a storm raging inside your mind. You're in a calm landscape, but there's a storm raging in your mind. So you see the chaos that is created, you see the impact that is created. It shows that from inside you're going through a lot. Even though the surrounding is so peaceful, inside you're struggling. That kind of a juxtaposition, contrasting ideas put side by side for impact. A kind and empathetic character juxtaposed with a cruel one. So when you read, a lot of novels have these, that you have a very kind character and just opposite or a juxtaposed character will be a cruel one. So this is all done for impact. So juxtaposition is two different things put side by side. Okay, it can be direct opposites, it can be anything. It does not have to be direct opposites like light and dark, like cruel and good, not like that. It can be anything that is different from each other but placed side by side. It does not, I'm repeating it again, it does not, in juxtaposition, it does not have to be direct opposites. It can be anything. It can be anything, two different things put side by side for impact. Now, antitheses, the main thing over here is direct opposites. For juxtaposition, does not have to be direct opposites. It can be anything put side by side for impact. Anything but different things. It does not mean that you'll have a rose and then you'll have another rose. Not like that. You'll have different things, say a rose and a daisy. Just example, rose and a daisy put side by side for impact, okay, to highlight their differences, okay, for impact. It does not have to be like direct opposites. Like it does not have to be tear and a smile. Okay, it can be dissimilar things put side by side for impact. Now, for antitheses, it is direct opposites put side by side in a balanced way. So, antitheses, let's have a look at the definition. Antitheses is a specific type of juxtaposition. So, this is the first thing. Juxtaposition is a general term. Like I said, allegory is a general term. Parable and fable are specific type of allegories. Then in conceit, I said it's a general term. Metaphysical conceit is a specific type of conceit. Similarly, juxtaposition is a general term. General, I mean idea, I'm saying, not a term. General idea, it's a broader term, that's the correct way to say it. It's a broader term. Juxtaposition can be anything. Things, two or more things put side by side to highlight their differences. Antithesis is a specific type of juxtaposition where directly opposing ideas are put side by side. Often in a balanced parallel structure. In a parallel structure, you balance these opposing ideas. So I'll give you an example also. We'll look at that. What is the purpose? It creates a dramatic or persuasive effect by highlighting the contrast between the opposing ideas, often strengthening the message. So you'll understand this. I'll explain to you first. Let's look at the examples. Give me liberty or give me death. So you see there's a comma and there's give me liberty or give me death. It's a balanced sentence. It's separated by a comma. Two sides, the death side and the liberty side, are balanced. You see, you either give me this or give me that. I think one thing that I think I discussed in Macbeth also, I did not mention it here. Fair is foul and foul is fair. You remember? That is also antithesis. It's balanced. Fair is foul, comma, foul is fair. So it's balanced. Okay, so you have a comma in between, or it's like a sentence. In juxtaposition, it can be two words also. How two words? Bitter, sweet, light and dark. All of these things are all of these things are two words. Juxtaposition can be a sentence, juxtaposition can be an idea, it can be an art, it can be a picture, it can be an imagery, it can be anything. It can even be say two words, like I said just now, bittersweets. But in antithesis, it's a balanced grammatical structure with like commas and everything. You see, the two sides are balanced. So one small step for man, comma, one giant leap for mankind, the famous quote, right? So this is also antithesis, balanced, in a grammatical structure. It's a sentence. Then you have man proposes, God disposes. Man proposes, comma, God disposes. Then it was the best of times, comma, it was the worst of times. To err is human, comma, to forgive is divine. So it is direct opposites. You see, man, God, proposes, disposes, right? Liberty, death, okay? The best of times, worst of times, best and worst, direct opposites. Then you have to error. Once you have to error, and then you have to forgive, and then you have is human, is divine. So you understand, these are parallel structures. You have one small step for man, but one giant leap, small step, giant leap, man and mankind. So you see, these are direct opposites or direct things that you can compare, okay? And they're balanced in a grammatical structure, placed side by side in a balanced grammatical structure. That's what you have to remember. Now we have to look at the parallelism. A key element of antithesis is the use of parallel structure. See, it's balanced, right? Comma is there in between, so it's a parallel structure where the grammatical structure of the contrasting ideas is similar. The grammatical structure, give me a liberty or give me death, it's similar, okay? Man proposes, God disposes, it's similar. So you have to be clear with the concept in order to understand this when you're reading any book or any novel or a poem or anything, even newspapers and articles. You have to keep your eye and ears open. That's what makes literature very, very interesting. You can spot these things, figures of speech, and the grammatical structures, the literary devices employed. You can understand the psyche of the person writing all of this even better. So this is why we learn literary devices and figures of speech. It's very, very interesting. So now whenever you read a poem, if you've watched my videos, and if you're clear with the concepts, then you can actually figure out like which one is antithesis. Okay, here they're using parallelism. Okay, here they're using anagnorisis. Okay, here they're using anaphora. There they're using epistrophe. So all of these things you can actually employ while reading your novels. It makes it richer, right, to read your knowledge system. So now you have the key differences. Let's look at this. Specificity. Antithesis is a subset of juxtaposition. Like I said, antithesis is a specific type of juxtaposition. Juxtaposition is a broader term. So under it you have antitheses. Meaning and antithetical statements are also juxtaposed. That is, these antithetical statements, antitheses, the statement under it also are contrasting ideas, also have differences, they're juxtaposed. But not all juxtaposed statements are antithetical. All juxtaposition, all of it is not antitheses. Juxtaposition can be anything, like I said, but antitheses is specifically direct opposites placed side by side, opposing ideas, okay, directly opposing ideas. Then you have opposites. Antithesis explicitly uses opposing ideas, while juxtaposition can involve any kind of contrasting elements, not necessarily direct opposites. Structure. Antithesis often employs a balanced parallel structure, while juxtaposition does not necessarily require this. So this is like the overall differences, okay? Now the similarities, what about it? Antitheses and juxtaposition are both literary devices that highlight contrast. This is the similarity. Both of them talk about contrast. Both of them. When you talk about, say, simile and metaphor, right, it's a comparison between dissimilar things, right, using like and as, or a direct comparison and indirect comparison, we say. Here, antitheses and juxtaposition, you remember, is a contrast. It's not a comparison between light and dark. It is not a comparison between, say, we're saying over here, man proposes, God disposes. It's not a comparison between man and God. It's not a comparison between proposes and disposes. It is a contrast. Like you contrast the two ideas, and that will highlight the impact, that will actually impact the audience or the readers even more. So it's not remember this, that antithesis and juxtaposition is not comparison, it is contrast. But antithesis is a specific type of juxtaposition that involves directly opposing ideas presented in a balanced parallel structure. So you're taking contrasting elements like these things that don't compare to each other, different things, you're placing them side by side, juxtaposition. Direct opposites placed together in a grammatical structure parallelly, that is antithesis. So we're going to look at the differences between the two with examples and then end this video for today. So when it comes to antitheses, placing or using direct opposites or sharp contrast like light and dark, good and evil, okay, over here. So you're using concepts like the concept of light, and then you use it against darkness, or you use the concept of good and you contrast that with evil, and you use it in a parallel grammatical structure, that is antitheses. The elements are almost always direct opposites and clearly opposing concepts. But in juxtaposition, these two things or ideas or images or objects, it's ideas also, images or objects, side by side to highlight the differences or sometimes their similarities also. So this is juxtaposition versus antitheses. Under antitheses often is a balanced, often in a balanced and a parallel sentence structure. So the sentences often have two independent clauses connected by a comma or sometimes a conjunction. So like I said, it can be it can be connected by and, two independent sentences, like I said, right? One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Two independent sentence or independent clauses that connected together by a comma or a conjunction. It can be and, any conjunction, okay, you can use. It can be comma and conjunction. So example, speech is silver, but silence is gold. You're using the word but here, right? You have speech is silver, comma, but silence is gold. So it's a opposite, contrast, gold, silver, and speech, silence, direct contrast, but it's a parallel grammatical structure. That's what we have to remember. So independent clauses connected by a comma or a conjunction. And then you have juxtaposition. It doesn't require a specific grammatical structure. It can be two words also, it can be a sentence also, it can be an image, it can be a painting, it can be a novel, anything. So it doesn't require specific grammatical structure. Yes, it doesn't require specific grammatical structure. It's about the placement of elements. Do not necessarily have to have commas or conjunctions or independent clauses. Example, bittersweet. Okay. Then you have used for rhetorical impact to make an argument clearer, to create memorable phrases, or to emphasize a point through stark opposition. So this is just the purpose I've highlighted. You can remember it. And juxtaposition can create emphasis, reveal character, develop themes, evoke emotion, or generate irony. Okay, so this is what antithesis and juxtaposition is all about. I hope that this video has been clear for you. I'm dealing with a few literary devices that have appeared in competitive exams and that have repeatedly featured in the question papers. So that's why I am looking at these things first. I'll finish it as fast as possible, and then we're going to move on to the next topics that we are to cover from the syllabus. So this is antithesis and juxtaposition. If my videos are of help to you, then consider liking my videos, sharing my videos, and subscribing my channel for similar content. I hope that this video has been of help to you. I'm trying my level best to clear things out crystal clearly and as simply and easily as possible. If you are about literature, then this is the place to be. Until we meet again, I really hope that you stay healthy and happy. See you in the next one, guys.